Okay, take two. This video may skip a little bit because of my signal, but it's worth giving it a shot. I'll just say that the skipping or whatever is part of the perfection of all things. So, a while back, I used to, I'd be like talking to God and everything and praying, and then like I would just feel this like overwhelming feeling of like peace and stuff coming over me, and then I would start writing poetry, and it would just kind of come out. And sometimes I would write stuff and then I'd read it, and then I think to myself, like, where did that come from, or how did I write this poem that I don't even think this way in my normal like day-to-day life, but my poems would come out from this like different kind of mindset. Like I would write stuff in my poetry that I was like, I didn't even know I thought that, or I didn't even know I was capable of thinking those thoughts. And I would just like write them, and then just like sometimes just leave them to the side and wouldn't even think much about them. And then I went through a couple of dark nights of the soul on my spiritual journey, and I came to one time where I was like going through some things, and I had this idea in my mind about God, and I was just like, I mean, you hear a lot of stuff about God, you know, from church and from people and all this other stuff, and a lot of it's got to do with fear. You know, it's like a lot of people that are afraid of God, or they have this like ideas. I know in some scripture passages it says fear God, but I don't think that it's fear God in the way that people typically think about fear. Some people say it's awe, or being in like extreme admiration of God or something like that. One of the ways I look at it sometimes is like when back in the day when in my different neighborhoods that I live in, sometimes if the kids were in the streets and they were doing some stuff that maybe they shouldn't have been doing, my mom would say to me, you better be more afraid of me than you are of the people in the streets. And a lot of people don't know this about my mom. One day I might write a book about this lady, but she made me and my brother take martial arts with her when we were little, and like up to like 10, 11, whatever years old, 12. And she would say she took jujitsu, and then we took judo. And then like whenever we got into like trouble or something like that, she would make us get back to back, and like she would make me and my brother like battle each other a little bit, but then she would make us get back to back with her, and then she would make one of us she would say Hajime, and she would like grapple with us and like wrestle with us, because in her mind she was like a mom raising two boys and like some tougher areas, and she wanted us to be able to handle that. And at the same time, she wanted us to be more afraid of her than we were of the people in the streets, because it was really for our greater good. Like she wanted us to be like, oh, I would do this, but man, I'm scared of my mom, so I'm not going to do it. So she kept up, and some of the people who knew me growing up and wonder like why some of the ways that I am, man, when you got a mom that like taking judo and jujitsu and like grappling and wrestling you, it's like holding you down to the ground, trying to make you tough, but also make you have this understanding of consequences and stuff like that, which is what she was trying to do. It's a thing that shapes you, you know. But she did it out of love, you know, because she was trying to prepare us for some things, and there was an underlying perfection in it. When I was younger, I should be like, what's wrong with this lady, man? Why is she making us take martial arts with us and slamming us and holding us on the ground and all these other things? And it took me some time to understand the perfection in it, that it was like a method to her madness. And I'm drawing that analogy to say that that sometimes in our understanding of God, there's some complexities that we don't understand, and we apply our human understanding to it, and we're just like, what? Well, it doesn't make any sense to me. Why this and why that? But God has like a higher vision and a different understanding, and sometimes we're able to tap into that when we like let go and surrender. And that's what used to happen in some of the times when I write poetry. And I'm gonna read a poem to whoever ends up checking this out. It's called God's Plan. Some of you might have heard it before, and it goes like this. It started in the beginning, it ended in the beginning. The peace and the war, the losing and the winning. The time we have to wait, the weight that comes with time. The word and the verse, the pentameter and the rhyme. The hope for a better tomorrow, than the way things are today, the separation from God and the recollection when we pray, the anger and the rage that makes me hate my fellow man, and the forgiveness of all error that makes me want to hold their hand, the slavery that freed me and the freedom that was my prison, the light that's so blinding that it made clear my true vision, the death I had to suffer to see that I was alive, the love that's more perfect than all that man's contrived, all that I will overcome that led me to come over to the answer that's so close it can't get any closer, the doubt that made me trust that there's nothing I should doubt, and the silence that's so deafening it drowned out all my shouts, my enemies who hate me that I may know the love of my friends, and the salvation I received because I committed all those sins. So when it comes to God's plan, there's only one thing we need to know. This world was already perfect before I struggled to make it so. And this poem hit me like in my heart, like I don't even know, like 20 years ago now probably, when I was trying to understand like some of the experiences that I had. And something in my soul told me that, like, you know, from the beginning, there's a scripture passage where God tells Jeremiah, I think it is, it says, before I knew you in your mother's womb, I knew you and consecrated you. And I wanted to know the person that God knew before I was formed in my mother's womb, before I came into this world. I want to understand that being, that aspect of who I am that's bigger than my body, bigger than my circumstances, bigger than my experiences, any fears I might have, any doubts I might have. I want to know that person intimately, just like another scripture passage says that there's going to come a time where we're going to know ourselves as we are known. I want to know myself as I'm known by my Creator, because my Creator knows me more than I know myself and more than anybody else might know me. So that's what I'm trying to live into. And I really, in the core depths of my being, believe that there is some perfection to everything, even the worst things, and that we're living in a time right now where things seem so polarized and divided. And the poem really kind of says that all those things that seem to be separate are really part of a unifying whole, and it's only when we can lift ourselves above the illusion of separation and the fear and all the things that trip us up can we see that underlying perfection, or trust that underlying perfection, or have faith in that. And that when we're able to have that faith, we can walk through the world in a whole different way. And I think that that's what the world needs, man, right now. I think we need more of us to just be beyond all that and to live into a space of knowingness. It's like almost like beyond faith. It's like a knowing that there is something that is bigger than all of this, that's informing us and guiding us if we open ourselves up to it. And you know, I do my best, or I feel like I do my best to try to live into that. But then there's times where I feel like I'm slipping, and I realize it's because there's just more. There's more to this, and I choose to live into that and toward that, and to let God undo the parts of me that limit that understanding. And so these videos, or whatever it is I'm doing right now, is a part of that. Whatever I write, whatever I say, whatever I speak, whatever I do, because I don't know how, but I'm at this stage where I really do love people and everyone, and I want to see the same thing that I think God knows in me. I think God knows in everyone, and I want to see myself as God sees me, and I want to see everybody else as God sees them, and to live accordingly. So that's what I'm working towards, and I'm hoping that whatever I put out here is an encouragement to anybody else who's trying to do that. And I don't care where you come from, or what you do, or who you are, or love, or whatever. I just want to live that God life, that oneness. So that's what I'm trying to do, and hopefully you get something out of this video. Thanks.